All right then. Hello everyone. It's Shooting Game Weekly again, and we're at episode 131. And this week, as you can see, we're covering Summer Carnival '92 Recca, Famicom game, programmed by Shinobu Yagawa, who you know from the Rising arcade games and whatnot. And this is a game he made in the Famicom where he really pushed the Famicom hardware to its limit, not even just in the amount of sprites, but even the music. Has a lot of like crazy sampling and stuff, and we're gonna be taking a look at some various runs. This is kind of like a caravan shooter because it was released for the Summer Carnival shooting game competition back in 1992 that Soft, I think, did. So it actually never was really widely released, only for that competition. Until finally, in 2013, they released Recca on the 3DS eShop. So the worldwide casual gamers could try to play Recca and would shortly become obliterated because it is quite difficult. So there's a little info about Recca, and so yeah, in this episode, being co-hosted by Nasty Wolverine and Extruder X, aka Not Yace, who sadly can't join us. So hey guys.
Hello.
Hello all.
And the guest of this episode is Icarus. So yeah, welcome back Icarus to the show.
Hello. How are we doing, people?
Yeah, so you guys got a bunch of replays for us, and we're probably gonna jump right into them because we got a lot of content and I think a lot of stuff to talk about. But anything you guys want to talk about at the very beginning of this episode before we get into it? Any remarks about, you know, when you first played the game, or anything about that you think is special about the game, before we even get into talking more deeply about it?
Well, it was the first shooting game of this wonderful programmer that everyone
Really?
loves.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, and so it was just quite the experience for him. Just as Benamatic noted earlier, his first NES game was Kickmaster, but yeah, Recca did make a lot of influence on Yagawa's later works, such as Battle Garega, Ibarra, Pink Sweets, and just various others. Maybe even Mushi Mushi Pork. And it's quite an influential game. It's quoted by people as the grandfather of the Maku genre, which we're gonna see in Zanki mode, which is pretty ridiculous. Variety of the game modes and the challenge presented, they gave the game real publicity, and it's considered a fan favorite shmup for the people who know their Famicoms well, and yeah, it's considered to be the one of the best shmups on the console.
I mean, probably the first similarity I see to Batrider and Greg and stuff is that you have that rechargeable aura in front of your ship, which looks like it's blocking bullets there.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think that's like the biggest thing I can tell from right away, the similarity there.
Oh yeah, for the sensitivity warning.
Yeah, the charge bomb has been carried over to Batrider, the charge aura, but in Batrider you can't obviously blow them up with the charge aura. But in Pink Sweet, it does exactly the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, this game shares, Pink Sweet shares a lot of similarities with this, way more than any of Yagawa's other games. Obviously the weapon system with the charge bomb, but also the options as well. I think this was like the genesis for his, manipulatable option systems that you see in Garaga and Batrider and Backraid, but this one has more influence on Pink Sweets, where you can set it to forward, wide, backward, rotation. In this game, you can actually set it as search as well through a power-up. But I think in most cases, the hard mode in this game actually has more influence than the normal mode on Pink Suites, and there's a lot of patterns, a lot of formations, a lot of little things in the stages that you'll see reflected in Pink Suites more than the normal game is. So yeah, we'll probably point that out later. I mean, you can probably see some of it in the preview as well. The normal game is actually quite straightforward for a shoot 'em up, but hard mode is for me where it's at because it's just all over the place. There's like so much going on. There's formations everywhere. It's extremely difficult to play. You really need to be on top of your game to get anywhere in that mode, and it's pretty good fun and very challenging. So yeah.
Yeah, about the challenging part, yeah, it really is. I think it really takes most people like by surprise how difficult it is. Like, it's basically like a hardcore shmup on the NES when there was hardly any of those, it seemed.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them just kind of were like kind of casual, kind of like gun-ack and whatnot. And I mean, this game kind of blows everything out of the park, and all the ideas you guys talked about. It's kind of crazy that it actually. I mean, he actually kept a lot of those and used them in later games, and just goes to show he had a lot of ideas and really kind of put them into effect here. It's crazy.
Yeah, the thing is,
but it's only, I guess it was 92, so it was pretty late in the NES at that point.
People's most famous shmup, just when you ask them about shmups on NES, is probably the first Gradius, because, well, second Gradius port did not really leave Japan, sadly. Oh, Wolverine, could you briefly just explain your experiences with that game? And how did you find Recca as well later on?
Yeah, I got this as a bootleg because like Nintendo abandoned my country for a long period of time. Like, there were no games sold, but I did have the original console, so I got it as a bootleg. And the only shmup experience before this I had was Gradius 1, which I played over and over and kind of like 2cc or even 3cc, 3 all the.
You said you got Gradius 2 as a bootleg?
Gradius 1, I had Gradius 1, but I got Recca as a bootleg.
Oh, wow.
A friend gave it to me, and he said, like, I think you will like this. So when I booted it up and the select screen sound starts up, that's when I realized this is going to be something different. And the whole intro section where there's a rising synth and the ship just shoots off and enemies start showing up, I was blown away when I got this game.
Dang. So what year was that when you got the bootleg then?
I was about 14, so maybe 98 or 2000 something. I don't remember.
Did it like overwhelm you, the game,
Yeah.
or did you actually play it? Did you like stick with it?
I played it non-stop for about maybe 2 years. Then after that,
Dang.
IRL stuff happened and I had to like stop gaming for I think 2-3 years after that. So I think I was constantly playing it for like whenever I had the time. The only thing I was booting up was Recca. Then since it was a bootleg card, it died. And I tried to track one down, but I could never get it. Well, thanks for emulators, now I can play it all the time.
So you made me kind of curious when you said Nintendo abandoned your country. You're referring to India.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we got the first NES, but the thing is, it was not called an NES. It was called the Samurai Entertainment System.
Samurai?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That's pretty fun.
That's amazing.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's awesome.
So what happened is Nintendo couldn't sell directly in the country. They had to partner with somebody in the country to manufacture it and sell it and distribute it as well. And that company picked the name of Samurai Entertainment System. Yeah, I had a Samurai system that nobody else had probably.
So that was the bootleg system for India.
That was the official system.
Okay.
They released cards I think for maybe a year or two, but after that they stopped completely because I never saw an official NES or even Samurai card ever out there. So then after that, the first Nintendo system that we had here I think was the Nintendo DS. And in between we didn't have anything at all.
Alright.
So I guess like they tried to get the NES going, but it just didn't. Wasn't really panning out for you guys. Sales wise, I'd imagine.
The PS1 was a big thing here, and so was the Mega Drive. Then we had Dreamcast. I think from PS2 era, everything that's been released has been released here as well.
I see. Okay, so why don't we get back to the game then? So we got a bunch of modes here. I think we're gonna start out with a score attack mode in the game. So if you guys want to preface that, I'll get it queued up here.
Sure.
Yeah, well, score attack mode is essentially a 2-minute mode, and the aim of the game is just to get the highest score possible. That's it. Once you hit the 2-minute mark, the actual mode ends. So again, it's just get the highest score possible within 2 minutes. It is actually quite challenging to get a very high score in this because you need to get powered up quickly as soon as possible. And you need to maintain your power-ups as well, because I think it's like you get 10,000 points for every power-up that you haven't accessed that you pick up.
Yeah.
And medals are like, they increment up to 2,000 points in value. So you don't want to drop your medals, and you want to be swapping power-ups as little as possible and picking up everything that you can get a hold of. So it's actually pretty challenging. And also eating bullets as well with your aura and your bomb gives you points as well. I think Wolverine, you said it was like, what, 10 points per bullet, 20 points per bullet, something like that?
10 points per bullet.
Yeah. So there is quite a lot of optimization you can do within those 2 minutes to get a pretty high score. But the replay we're going to see is mine, and I bashed it together within one evening. And it's not that bad, but you can actually get 100,000 points higher than this. So you could probably see some optimization when we watch it that can still be done. But I'm pretty happy with this one. So yeah, that's score attack mode.
Cool. We might watch the video like twice because I might want to just go through the flow of the game and what we're looking at when we first check this out, just so we can get familiar with what we're looking at, because it is a really busy game, and
it is.
Like I say, it can be overwhelming. So we might watch it twice, but yeah, feel free to just explain the basics, you guys, when we check out the video for the first time here.
Okay.
And sprinkle whatever in there.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, I will start the countdown here. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's a wonderful intro.
I'll just go with the scoring basics. So the basic is you have medals like every Yagawa game. You have to chain medals. I think it starts at 100 points and goes up to 2,000, as Icarus said. The graphics of the medal doesn't change. Even if it looks the same, you're still supposed to chain it. The main source of point is options and power-ups. If you collect the same power-up again or the options again, you get 10,000 points. Then if you're charging your bomb, your score counter increases. So the more time that you spend charging your bomb or leaving it at full charge, the more score you get. And you can also get points from eating bullets with your charge bomb. And that's really it.
You get points for just idle charging, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah, there's a fun little exploit that I found the other day, in that if you're using autofire, you can actually keep your score counter ticking up while you're firing, because usually when you're holding down the shot button, it stops your score counter from ticking up, so the only source of points you get is from picking stuff up. But if you're using a really slow autofire, like say 5 Hz or something like that, your score counter continues to tick up. Like you can see here, I'm holding down shot, but my score counter is ticking up because I'm using autofire here. So it's a pretty sneaky little trick you can do if you've got a joystick that supports a pretty slow autofire rate.
That's pretty sneaky. I don't know how Yaga would feel about that.
Yeah.
But he hates us anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I think Japanese players have worked out that you can actually counter-stop in normal mode, so they had to find quite a lot of different sources of points outside of just picking stuff up. And I think that, the autofire trick is one of those little sources of points. But yeah.
All right, so it already ended, so
it's done, yeah.
We'll try it again here. But yeah, feel free to continue.
Yeah.
I'll do a countdown again real quick. Well, finish your thought there, I guess.
Well, I was going to say that at the very beginning, you do need to power up in a very specific way. So if we start the replay again, I'll go through exactly what I'm doing.
Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if Wolverine explained it, but when you power up, you need usually 3 power-ups of the same kind in order to power up to maximum. But one thing that most players don't realize is that if you're using the Vulcan power-up, you only need 2 power-ups to get to maximum, and because you already start with the Vulcan power-up. So the most optimal way of powering up in this game is to get 2 V power-ups first to get to Vulcan, and then switch out to whatever you want afterwards, which is normally laser, because laser's really strong and it's semi-homing at maximum power. But at this point I'm using the charge bomb in order to kill as much stuff as possible until I've got enough power-ups to use. Here I've got like level 2 Vulcan. I'm going to be waiting for another power-up very soon. I think this one should be a V. Yeah, this is a full powered shot now, so I can switch out to whatever I want afterwards now. And all I'm going to be doing here is switching to laser and search options, which is pretty much the most optimal weapon setup you can have in this game, and because it's basically homing in on everything that you can shoot down on screen. And that's the only way you can really kill anything quickly in this game, is to actually have as much coverage on screen as possible. But here I'm trying to, shoot down as many enemies as possible, and also trying to take out as many of the metal carriers as possible as well. It's like small little discs with 2 bars on them, like these ones here. When you shoot them down, they give you a medal each. Ideally, I want to be picking them up as quickly as possible, and cycling to the next formation as quickly as possible as well. But it's actually pretty hard to optimize a lot of the score on this, because like I said, the score attack mode, you can actually get over 500,000 points. And I was playing quite hard here as well, and only managed to get like 431,000 points, so there's still quite a lot of points to optimize here. Yeah, and again, 2-minute... Yeah.
One thing to note is in the score attack and time attack, you don't get the search option.
Yeah, that's correct. So you have to use forward options instead in the caravan modes, which is still pretty good, but you do rely on your laser a lot more because it's the only homing attack you have available in those modes.
Nice. Okay, maybe we can move on to the time attack mode now.
Yep.
So how's time attack different than score attack?
Time attack is different in that you have a set amount of time to get 1,000,000 points, and it actually rates you on how quickly you get to 1,000,000 points. So again, there's a lot of optimization involved in actually scoring in time attack mode. But since you have a pretty high score threshold, you can actually go over multiple stages. And I think there's like 2 stages you can play up to, or maybe 3. I haven't actually seen the 3rd one yet. But I did manage to hit the score threshold once I killed the 2nd boss. So it is actually possible to get to the 1,000,000 point threshold way before you get to the boss. I think I've seen time attack mode times in like the low 3 minutes. 3.5 minutes range, so yeah, you can actually get this one pretty fast as well. It's a speedrun shmup mode, this one. It's actually quite nice to play as well because it gets pretty hectic later on.
Cool. All right, let's start it up then. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so essentially the same power-up method applies. You want to stick with Vulcan, power that up to max, and then switch out to laser as soon as possible, and then pick up 2 forward options so that you've got good forward coverage and good strong homing attacks. But the most optimal way that I usually power up is to use the bomb first in order to kill as much stuff as possible, because it does have pretty good coverage if you place it in the right place, and also it does protect you from a lot of the really spammy attacks that enemies tend to have as well, which your standard shot doesn't usually break through. But you can take a bit more time and be a little bit more cautious in this mode, because obviously you've got a score threshold rather than a time threshold to meet. But sometimes I will be dropping power-ups every so often, just because I don't want to be accidentally cycling to a different weapon, because in Recca, most of your deaths will come from picking up the wrong weapon at a key moment. It has happened before. You usually end up with, like, I don't know, black options that can kill you. If you have, like, weak homing, that can kill you. Anything that isn't optimal will kill you in this game, and you do have to be very careful with certain sections because of it.
So how does it handle deaths in in these modes?
Deaths, They're pretty
You get
quick.
fixed lives.
Yeah.
So you in the score attack and time attack you get fixed lives, and I think it's about 5 that you get.
Yeah.
And that's really it. You
Okay.
die. It's like the normal death, the main game.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, so that's the first boss done. We're into the second stage now. This stage is a little bit higher scoring, but again, you do want to be using the most optimal setup. I think I might be right in thinking that there might be some form of like formation cycling, like Feveron, how you can kill like a formation and it brings the next one in a lot faster. It feels that way to me because obviously you can actually get this time down pretty quickly. But I'd have to look into that, I think. But yeah, there is some optimization, as you can see, that still needs to be done by killing certain formations a bit faster and trying to kill more stuff as well, because I'm leaving quite a lot of stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But for the most part, the time attack stages aren't too challenging. It's just obviously you need to optimize your kills and get more stuff on screen.
Oh, there's where the cranes came from in stage 1 of Recca there.
Yeah, you can see quite a lot of stuff that you'll see in the later Yagawa games.
It's crazy that a lot of that stuff comes back.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that.
Yeah, the cranes are quite a popular thing in a lot of his games, and I think this was one of the first instances where you see them. Those floating laser turrets, you see them a lot in, Pink Suites, obviously, and spammy enemies as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot of DNA in this game that finds its way to a lot of his later stuff. So it's pretty fun to play through and see echoes in later games from this game. So
The beginning.
Things that
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, man. Go ahead.
Things that really carry over are the first is the medal, the chaining system, because that's there for like almost every Yagawa game. The side options, which is also again there for most of his game, and then again the charging bomb.
Oh man, epic explosion.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that variation. Yeah, I like how you referred to it as it's basically it is a speedrun mode because you're racing to 1 million points. I like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good mode since it is very short, but you do have to play at a very high pace to score. So like I said, there is quite a lot of optimization that you can still do in that. Just watching through that replay the first time, like lots of enemies that I've left in lots of places where I've dropped like items, for example. But yeah, you can get that time down very, very low if you're very good at it. There's a couple of really good replays on YouTube, actually. I think by JBX, I think, or his name, whatever his name is, something like that, where his times are actually super low. They're like 3 minutes 24 time attack mode. I think it's like 560,000 points for score attack mode. So he really pushed that one. Yeah, so those are good replays if anyone's interested in, checking out the actual modes played optimally.
Oh yeah, the timer
Cool,
is funny.
alright.
Could you explain what's wrong with the timer?
The timer, I'm not sure. I think it's more to do with the emulation, I think, because I did note that my hard mode counterstop time was like 49 minutes when I actually game over, but the actual video length is like 40 minutes. So I think the time is not quite correct in game. Either that or it's emulation or something, I'm not sure.
I don't think it's emulation. It's the way it's been set up. I think when the game actually slows down, it still goes by frames instead of actual time. Because I don't think the NES had a time chip in it to tell time.
Well, that
So
makes
it
sense,
mostly is going by frames. So if there are slowdown, it just extends the time of the game.
That's 9 minutes of slowdown right there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it does get really slow in the harder modes. Like, the actual hard mode does slow down quite crazily in later stages because there's so much going on. And I think Zanki attack mode does that as well because of all the revenge bullets that are fired from enemies. So somehow they managed to push quite a lot of speed out of Recca, but yes, there is still a bit of slowdown in when it gets really busy.
I guess everyone should still keep in their mind that this is still the Famicom.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what he did with it.
Yeah, like in one of the interviews with Yagawa, he said, when he was making the game, he wanted to press the hardware as much as possible, and that's a theme like with all of his games too.
Yeah.
You'll see definitely parts where slowdown will happen, and just tons of stuff can happen in his games.
Yeah,
There's
it
an
is
interesting
amazing.
interview. Just with the game's
And,
composer, Nobuyuki Shiyoda, and he tells a really interesting story. Just how did he just find the style of the music? When I got assigned, I met Yagawa, and he was saying stuff like, with Recca, we can do whatever we want for the sound. And in later meetings, he said, let's do the impossible on the Famicom. If it's impossible, how exactly we are going to do it? But I also remember thinking, if he's got the balls to say that, maybe he really can pull this off. And so then Yagawa sends the composer CDs with Detroit techno, which make a major influence just in this and Garega, especially Garega and later works of his.
Yeah, the music's fun to listen to. It's definitely got that punch to it that some NES games will have.
Yeah, so Yagawa basically gave the music designer Detroit techno CDs and told him just do this and whatever. And Namiki actually picked up on that later, and he designed Garega's soundtrack to sound like Recca's.
Battle Gareka.
So much influence here. This game.
The interview is a good read. I posted the link on chat, so do read it.
Definitely. All right, so we got normal mode next, the actual regular game.
Yeah.
Shall we just jump into it, or do you want to preface it?
Yeah, we can jump into it and we can talk about it as we go on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
So it is a regular game too.
Yes, it is. It's actually a pretty hard
Not
regular
just a
game.
score attack.
Yeah.
So the thing was, initially it was designed as a caravan game, but Yagawa was so good, he has so much space left over in the cartridge that he kept adding modes, and you end up with 5 modes in a NES cartridge. And if you see the hard mode and the hard mode Zanki, the amount of stuff that he put into the cartridge along with the music, because the music is completely, I think, mostly sample based.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So there is a lot of optimization going on for what he did. Some of the sprites are split into 4 pieces, so even if the game flickers, you can still see part of it. Those are the little nifty things that Yagawa put into it.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what he did with the hardware to actually get it to run at this speed and, still be somewhat playable, because there's quite a lot of, NES and Famicom games that tried to do something similar, but they ended up being somewhat unplayable in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty impressive what he managed to do with this.
Yeah, it seems like it remains pretty smooth most of the time.
Yeah, for a large majority of the game, it is run basically at the same frame rate. So, like I said, it's only when it gets super busy, like in hard mode and Zanki attack mode, that you'll see some hint of slowdown. But even then, it's not that huge. The slowdown, it's like maybe drops by about 10% or something like that. It's still pretty fast. But the game overall is just super quick to play. It is quite nice actually. Actually playing this after playing some of the slower NES shoot 'em ups that are out there. Yeah.
There are some. There are shmups on NES besides Recca.
Yeah. There are, yeah.
Maybe we'll get to them later.
Yeah. I mean, you can already see quite a lot of stuff in this that you'll see in a lot of his later games. Like I did mention though, this game has the biggest influence on Pink Sweets. But it's more so for hard mode than normal mode. But you can still see some enemies, some formations that are quite similar in Pink Sweets. But with this game anyway, the key is just to, again, power up to maximum, get to laser, use search options, and then just pick up the same power up over and over again. So you're picking up lots of L power ups, lots of S options, because they're worth a shitload of points. And it also gets them off screen just in case, because sometimes, like I mentioned before, if you accidentally pick up the wrong weapon, you'll probably find yourself losing quite a lot of lives very quickly, because the enemies are relentless and ruthless in this game. This boss, for example, a lot of people usually try and shoot the core using the main shot, but I tend to use the aura to block the flamethrower and then use the options to kill the boss. And sometimes I'll be using the bomb, but at this point I'll be switching out to using just the main shot options, because it's just a lot easier to play. The screen doesn't flicker as much, which is somewhat of a godsend in later stages. And it's just a little bit more consistent using your shot, because sometimes if your bomb timing is off, if you place it wrong, again, you stand to lose 2, 3, maybe 4 lives in very quick succession if you're not careful.
Yeah, the aura.
I like the idea. I just want to go say real quick. I like how the idea of like the rechargeable bomb is like, oh, people like using bombs in shmups, so why not just let them use a bomb all the time?
Yes.
And then just design the game around that.
Yeah, that's
like that's such a crazy idea that ends up working out pretty cool, I think, in general.
Yeah, before him, just was also nobody really tried to do Detroit Techno on, and in many years people just thought it was too weak.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking outside the box, that's what he's pretty good at. And so his shmups are also meant to be played differently than the most, really.
Yeah.
And the aura from the bomb makes its way into the Batrider. So when you don't shoot, you get the same one, kind of.
And
It
back
burns
rate as well does
destructible
it as
bullets.
well.
The protective aura, yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's pretty straightforward. What we're going through here, it's just a standard stage, straight up. Get a lot of medals here. Just, there are a few trap sections in here, but primarily you can just sit near the bottom of the screen with homing and the search and laser, and just kill whatever comes at you. You don't want to be making quick snatches for power-ups, because sometimes enemies come from the side of the screen, bottom of the screen, and they will catch you out. I've been caught out quite a few times playing this.
Yeah.
You
tend to like stay in the mid-bottom kind of area.
Yeah, just let
That's a
the
good
power-ups come to you. It's usually the safest way, because like I said, enemies will come from everywhere in this game, and if you try to make like a greedy grab for a power-up, then that's usually when you'll be caught like by a flying enemy smashing into you. It does happen quite a lot. There's a little section coming up when the screen starts scrolling back the other way that does catch a lot of people out, which I'll point out when we get to it. But
Oh yeah, from a casual perspective, this is when the game starts getting
yeah,
a little bit more heated.
yeah. From a casual perspective, this stage is probably one of the hardest stages in there. I think stage 4 is probably the most difficult standard stage. The boss rush we could get into hours and hours, because it is a very difficult boss rush and a very long one. But in terms of standard stages, I think stage 4 will be the most trickiest, because there's a lot of really, really nasty little traps in there that you do need to memorize in order to get through.
In Japanese, 4 is death.
Gotta love how fast that part gets right there.
Yeah.
As a kid, when I saw that backward scrolling section the first time, I was blown away, because no other game did that.
A backward scroll.
Yeah. And the music change up too when it goes into the whole synth thingy, the trippy rising one.
Yeah.
Even that like literally blew my mind.
Also the background, just these sine waves, that something that's going to be used in Earthbound later on. With a great effect.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that trap section is coming up right here. There's going to be an enemy on the right side there. That small disc thing. Usually you're like in the middle of the screen trying to get away from the things that like materialize on the left side, so you stay on the right, but that thing, that disc comes out. It comes out and it's got an arm and it'll smack you as it's going past, so that's usually, if you're not careful, that's 1 life lost there, usually 2 or 3 straight after. Yeah. You probably saw as well that there's a couple of snakes in the stage. Yep. They found their way into Pink Sweets. I hate them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love them.
Yep, snakes. This boss is pretty easy though.
Good. Let's talk about the references that, well, more like inspirations, not the references. Just let's go the other way. I think that the games, considering this game is a pretty old shmup, there wasn't exactly that much stuff. So there are mostly just Toa Plan ones, and considering Yagawa did find the way into cave much later. So yeah, mostly Truxton with his space backgrounds, just Star Force for the formations, and probably just 2 or more 3 games. Oh yeah, R-Type, just for the whole just biomechanical sort of look. That's been quite unique at the time.
This game does actually have a story.
Whoa.
It was on the it's there on the, I think it was on the cart insert or on the cart itself. But basically the story is there is an alien invasion, and the Earth fleet has been destroyed. So they put all their technological whatever they could find into the last ship, Recca, and that's really it.
Yeah, pretty standard story then, isn't it?
Yeah, Sonic has the same one, Darius has the same one.
Well, it is a shmup.
Stock shmup plots, we need a book.
Yeah, probably going to be about 2 pages long, that book.
There is an invasion, there's a highly advanced ship built by the Resistance, and yeah, that's really it.
Not every game can be Einhander levels of plot.
Yeah.
Einhander, it's German.
Or Radiant Silvergun.
Alright,
etc.
Well, modern shmup stories are pretty much the same. There is an invasion, there is a highly technologically advanced ship, and there are waifus.
Sometimes technologically advanced waifus as well, as we see inside Iojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here the game is expecting you to use the aura to protect yourself there.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Didn't look like there was any way to avoid that otherwise.
No, there
This
isn't.
boss is a dick. If you don't know how to take care of this boss, you will die. This will rend your runs all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. This boss really infuriated me when I was practicing this a few weeks ago, but I realized that it's actually a lot easier if you just shoot and try and destroy the first 2 pairs of the actual boss, because once you've destroyed those, banned attacks can be absorbed by aura, which is pretty easy, but you do need to destroy the homing missile cannons, which are front 2, and the aimed bullet cannons, which are the middle 2. Once they're done, it's easy, but a lot of people try and use the aura and the charge bomb there, and that's usually when you die, because there is a delay between the full charge and when you can actually use it. So if you've played Pink Suite, it's exactly the same thing. You've got to wait a little bit before you can actually use it again. And usually when you're waiting for it to charge, you have to dodge around quite a lot. Yeah.
So just best to stay in the back.
Yep, stay in the back,
Then-
use your shot for that boss. It's probably the easiest thing to do.
This boss is back.
Yep, this boss returns as well. Handle it the same way, just you can use the aura to absorb the flamethrowers and then dump a bomb on top of it, or you can try and slow your ship down to like the slowest speed and then, tap dodge in between the 2 middle flamethrowers to use your shot. I think it's probably safer to do it that way, but I like the way that I do it because it's a lot quicker to kill the boss.
So are we in stage 3 right now?
This is the
It's
boss
stage
rush.
4.
Stage 4, okay.
Stage 4 is a giant boss.
Okay.
Think about 8 or 9 bosses in total before the final boss.
There's a lot of bosses in this, and they're all interspaced with like little enemy formations where you can try and power up again if you've died already, or get some free points while you're at it. Yeah, as you can see, I'm using the auto fire trick here, so still getting a few free points here. So far it's no miss, which isn't too bad. This boss is like a rerun of the first boss, so you handle it the same way. You just charge your aura, drop a bomb in front of it. When it retracts its arm, it's going to use a laser attack to just back up and get away from it.
Game about slam dunking repeatedly.
Yes, exactly. Dump those bombs. There are a couple of really scary bosses in the boss rush though. We already had one, that one we were talking about with the 6 cannons, one that everyone seems to hate. There's another couple actually. There's one with the 5 laser cannons, which is extremely annoying to deal with because it takes up a lot of screen space. I think it comes after this one. This one's a rerun of the stage 3 boss, so you handle it the same way. Just try and watch for which direction it's going to use the arms, and try and get in up close to the core and drop a bomb in front of it like that. It's the easiest way to do it. It's also absolutely safe in the bottom middle while it's like, you know, moving the laser arms left to right, because there's a big enough gap to sit down there. I think the next boss is... I think that one's pretty nasty, yeah. Oh no, this one's pretty easy. Drop a bomb, shoot, and then it's dead. It's very fast to kill this one. Good. Yeah, fastest boss to kill. It can be pretty dangerous if you don't do it that way, but if you've got good weapons, then you can kill it within like 3 seconds. So yeah, as I said, in between the bosses you get a lot of these formations. It's usually 3 points if you're max powered, or it's a good chance for you to recover your power-ups if you've died already.
Oh, by the way, about deaths, is there a rank in this game?
No rank.
Yeah, no rank.
Thanks.
I was thinking maybe there was like some form of survival rank, but I never noticed. So it's still pretty hard though, even without rank.
The only game of Yagawa without rank, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
I think he just ran out.
Yeah.
He was young, restrained. Still did crazy though.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, there's already enough going on, really. It seems like it would be kind of pointless.
Yeah. I don't know if he had
that.
enough space to stick rank in that. Oh, we got this boss again.
If you did, it would be crazy.
Yeah.
Damn, this like here's who's this guy again?
Yeah. Well,
The hard guy.
This is me demonstrating how to actually do it with the bombs instead, because as you can tell, I died before, a couple of bosses before, and I didn't get a decent shot power up.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, so the key here is just to drop a bomb and then sit as far to the side as possible to lead the missiles into the actual bomb blast, and then you've got enough time to cut under, get to the other side. And then again, then once you've destroyed enough of the turrets, it's just a case of absorbing the bullets and then dropping the bomb. It's fairly consistent. It's pretty safe.
Yeah, they look nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe way of doing it. I think it's the next boss actually, which I was referring to. You'll see. It's not a pleasant one at all.
So new stage, new music hype?
No, it keeps changing the music in between, but it's still the boss rush.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
This is the boss.
Deceived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This boss has 5 huge lasers, and for the longest time I think people thought it was like random, these lasers, how they fired, but I actually sat down one evening to try and learn the boss rush, and I found out that there's an actual pattern to this. And the easiest way to actually deal with the boss now is to learn which lasers aren't firing, so you can actually get into a safe spot. It's actually quite safe once you learn the actual pattern, because it cycles. It's like, I think 7 or 8 laser patterns before it goes back to like a single one down the middle.
8, if I remember correctly.
8, yeah. So once you actually learn the patterns, it is actually quite safe to deal with the boss. But if you don't know the patterns, you do tend to lose like 5, 6, 7 lives or something like that.
Yes.
That boss will end runs if you die once and you're not prepared for it.
Seems like you get there and then you game over and you have to try again.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, a few weeks ago when I was practicing this, that was essentially what was happening. I was like getting to that boss and then die once and then fuck.
Classic.
And then there goes the run, and then you start again, you get to the boss, fuck, and then you die again. So that's why I actually spent that time sitting down to actually learn the patterns, and once I actually sussed it out, it's like you can one miss or even no miss that boss pretty handily now.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had they had the Pink Sweets gravity balls there.
Yeah, that boss Pink Sweets referenced as well, the black and white gravity wells. I think the white ones push you and the black ones suck you in. But they have a lot more force in Recca than they do in Pink Sweets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you were very far away, and I was trying to say very far away. It looked like.
Yeah.
Don't get fooled. All of them suck.
Boo.
Boo. Yeah, we're approaching the very last boss now, I think. I think that was the second to last one, yeah. So after you kill that boss before, you get a pretty long wave of enemies, so you can get some points, get powered up.
Yeah, the gravity balls want to go on to say. I think that's a pretty nice. It's a nice gimmick. I think when shmups use it.
It is.
Like I think X-Seal has that, or I think it's X-Seal has that.
Darius, I think.
The vacuum stage.
Yeah.
It's just called like vacuum something.
Yeah.
And there's just like a lot of the like repellers and stuff like that push you around.
Yeah,
I think
um,
V5.
I like that.
V5 just it was released.
V5 and
this
G-Darius.
game, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
It
Gradius
has the-
5 has it as well. I think one of the bosses in
Yeah.
stage 7, I think. The wall boss has like gravity floor and ceiling, which pulls you towards it, which is kind of infuriating because there's a lot of stuff going on in that stage.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Final
Whoa,
boss
this is
hype.
crazy.
Yep.
Woo!
Whoa.
Oh hey,
It's
Glow
fucking glow squid. Damn.
Except this time it actually glows.
Yeah.
So did you like shit your pants there, Nasty Wolverine, when you were a kid?
I haven't once CC'd it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly
So-
because I don't practice
Super
good
hard.
enough.
So
But
that will be an opportunity for you to experience the pants shitting.
you should let this the credits play out because there's a nice surprise at the end.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that
Super
was
hard shooting game.
That was pretty much Glow Squid. The attacks were exactly the same. Basically, you had homing missiles, you had aiming shots, and stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah, like I wonder how long like Yaga was holding on to these ideas until like he's like, all right, this is the game where I'm gonna unleash all this stuff that would later be like prominent things in later games.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you have a good idea, like why not just bring it into as technology advances. It's basically what's going on.
Yeah.
If he ever takes into the VR games development,
Oh, God.
do not try, because he might try and hijack your brains. Like he's the guy that will carve out your heart with a teaspoon. Pretty much, he's that inventive.
Oh my god, I really don't like the thought of him making a VR game.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
But
Yeah.
judging from Ibarra, Pink Sweets, and
Unless it was an
Mochi
arcade
Mochi
game.
Poke, you would probably have a lot of waifus in it.
Oh yeah.
At least at least you'll have that consolation.
No, like it would be worse. Like he would make a cube, just some random cubes, and then program your brain so you would think it's a waifu.
I'm just thinking maybe he should like team up with Llamasoft because they do, VR stuff like
Oh.
Oblivious. That would be hilarious.
Oblivious. Oh yeah, Tempest. So yeah, coming up.
Yeah, that'll be
All
hype.
the trivia games.
Yeah.
The funny thing in this credit is you can't shoot your main shot, but you can shoot your option for some reason.
Yeah.
Because the credits are the bomb.
Alright, he's here, everyone
Like really, just
watching us.
about the credits. Why you can't shoot? Because there's a sprite limit, and the game removes the HUD whenever you bomb. So like, imagine if you bombed and the credits would randomly have disappearing letters.
Most possibly.
Probably.
Okay, so I think we missed this portion at least. If you want to power up real quick in Recca, the first thing that you should do is either collect 2 Vs, Vulcans, or 1 Burst, because Burst by itself at level 1 is still quite powerful enough. And power those up to level 3 and switch to Laser, which is the best weapon in the game. And get Search.
The drum roll.
The only problem with that is weapons are useless in Zanki attack mode.
Yeah. In Zanki attack mode, everything is useless apart from your options and the bomb.
Yeah.
So are we at the thing now?
Yeah.
Yep, we're at the thing.
The trailer.
Oh,
Before trailers were a thing.
yeah. One other thing I think we didn't mention is that Choren Shah takes a lot from this as well.
including
Yep.
this particular thing. Dun,
including
dun,
this particular
dun.
thing, yeah. A lot of the
Yagawa
enemies,
actually doesn't reuse, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah. A lot of the enemies you do see from Recca and Chara, yeah, that has a lot of influence. It's pretty cool. A lot of games have a lot of influence from Recca. But yeah, that's normal.
So you guys are mentioning this Zanki mode. I think we're gonna look at that mode now.
Sure.
So, we're going straight to Yace's run then. I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Jeez, this is a 40-minute run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's long. It's pretty long.
All right, so let's get it started, and we can talk about it
Okay.
during it.
Yeah,
All right.
this run is Zanki hard mode, and in order to unlock both hard and Zanki, you have to complete the game, the normal one. And yeah, as mentioned, in this mode, you just want to stick to your bomb because it can destroy the revenge bullets that now appear from like every enemy. It's disgusting. Also, you get 50 lives at the beginning because of just Zanki mode. It translates as life attack pretty much. So your goal is to try and get to the end with as much extent as possible.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, let's start the replay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yep, as mentioned before, you get 50 lives. The game actually ranks you when you end the actual run based on how many lives you've got. Obviously, it's either game over or however many lives you have remaining. This hard mode, yeah, it's good. I like this.
The music is crazy in this mode. And if the video is low quality, blame Yace for it because he did it, I think, close to 5 years back.
Oh, okay.
Too bad there's no Yace, so you don't get to blame anybody.
We have not Yace though, we can blame you.
Oh shit.
Yeah, hard mode, as you can see, already ramps up quite a fair bit. Like I mentioned earlier, Pink Suites actually takes a lot more from hard mode than it does from normal mode in terms of enemy formations and attack patterns. So you'll probably see quite a fair bit if you're familiar with Pink Suites reflected here. But most of the time when you're playing this, the key here is just to constantly bomb, because as you can see, enemies and bomb, yeah, because enemies when they're destroyed, they spray bullets everywhere. So your shot is pretty much useless. You have to rely on your bomb and your options to kill stuff. So Zanki attack mode is just bomb everything constantly.
Yeah, now this is looking more like a later stage of Pink Suites, where you're bombing all the time.
It pretty much
and kind of like you're hiding, trying to find like the right little spot after the bomb ends so that you don't get caught. And
yeah.
Oh, now that I'm thinking, this mode, Pink Suites, infinite life streak, was it intended?
Probably.
Just
yeah.
Like maybe it's Yagawa's this little shout out to this thing that has 50 lives.
Yeah, it does sound like that might be the case.
Interesting.
I don't know. that bug breaks the game, though. I mean,
it's Well, we can go into
that
whenever we.
It doesn't sound good.
We can go into that whenever we actually end up doing a Pink Suites episode. But the way I see it is that it's hard enough to actually be a feature.
Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, another time there.
Yeah.
In this mode, you don't really need to worry about scoring because regardless of what you do, you'll end up counter-stopping the game.
Yeah. The time when you actually get the counter-stop will differ though, because in Zanki hard you're bombing constantly, so you're not going to be able to use your shot to kill as much stuff. So I think the counter-stop actually happens closer to the end of the game, if I'm right in thinking. But if you're just doing hard mode normally, you can actually counter-stop by, I think, halfway through stage 3 or something like that. So it's pretty early when you do it, just normally.
It's kind of funny that out of all things Yagawa decides to cut for memory purposes, he cuts the score digit. Like, who needs that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that till now. Oh wait. Oh, I see it. I thought. Okay. Wait, there's a digit missing.
Like, it's pretty hilarious because, like, usually storing the score in memory doesn't really take that much, I think.
Yeah, it's an oversight because most of these modes have been added after the score attack and the time attack, because it was essentially supposed to be just a caravan game with time attack and score attack. Then Yagawa just kept adding stuff to it, so you have 4 more additional modes on top. And you
Yeah,
get-
like there was no reason for this stuff.
yeah,
Like he went beyond the job. It sounded like.
yeah, he just added whatever he felt like near the end. Because this hard mode has like everything, but it counter stops, and he never fixed it.
Rip. There goes
There's
the
a
magic
death.
of the ROM hacks. But yeah, game reminds me. Oh yeah, also just the later kind of indie game. I would say it's indie. Every extent where you just explode and all the time and get more lives. I'm pretty sure it's also kind of Yagawa based. Like, taken to the logical extreme, just you bomb, you die, why not both for the same?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to wonder if they were fans of the Yagawa games. Could be unintentional.
Could be. Yeah, in this mode, the major focus is on positioning of your bomb, so you want to get it into just the most optimal spot on the screen and then stay inside of it, because as most kind of bombs in this, let's say, shmup style go, you are only invulnerable inside of them. And so you want to use that to block as much bullets as possible and to lead just all of the rest of bullets inside of it, so you don't get caught if you want to kind of maneuver outside instead. And of course, use the options to finish off the enemies that you don't wanna, like, that did get away from your bomb or just passing by. So those are your only chance if you're like charging and there's something just catching up to you.
So when you release a bomb, is it true that you can, like, the hitbox is very tiny on the aura when it's recharging, and then it gets bigger?
Yes.
So I guess you just have to be careful while blocking the bullets. But yeah, you can kind of block them right after the recharge, but it's like it's kind of growing at that moment.
Yeah. Essentially, when you're
think
using
it's kind
the
of
bomb,
important
you
to
don't
know.
want to be holding down the button after you deploy it, because it takes longer for it to charge that way. Ideally, you just want to be tapping the fire button to deploy a bomb.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because then it starts charging immediately, and then it's like maybe half a second once the bomb burns out that you've got until the actual bomb is fully charged again. So it's a pretty good rhythm that you have to get into when you're deploying your bomb. It's like tap, wait for the charge, and then bomb, tap, wait for
Yeah.
the charge, and then bomb.
Well, funny you mentioned that, because in Pink Suites they have the girls make a voice clip if you release the bomb like a spec too early and you fail it.
Yeah, charge cancelling.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, charge cancelling is a thing in this, that you can actually cancel your charge before it's actually fully charged up, in which case you've got to wait for it to go again, and it is a very slow charge up as well. I think it takes maybe 2-3 seconds for it to fully charge up or something like that, and in that time
slow down.
Yeah, and in that time you've got to avoid all of this shit that's coming around on screen as well. So in both games, if you charge cancel, that's instant death usually, unless you've managed to find yourself in a safe spot or something like that, which is very, very rare in later stages. Chain death, big thing.
That's pretty interesting, because I think Zun was inspired by this one when he was making a particular shot in Phantasmagoria Flower View. There's a character that can cancel the bullets by using the focused shot, just charging and just holding the charge and the unleashing, and it cuts some of the bullets before you. Just Zoom might have taken from that, considering he takes a lot of ideas from classic shmups. So that's definitely a thing. And what would you say, just tell about just the best option formations in this mode?
It's probably search, I would think. In all modes where it's available, you want to have search as your options. Forward, at the very, just in case you don't have search available. But search is generally the best because it does lock on very quickly and it is fairly powerful. You can get away with using just your options in a lot of cases.
Man, this is nuts. Like, just imagine, like, back in the day, like, you have your buddy come over and he sees, like, you on this stage. Like, what is going on here? What is this? This is the NES?
Yeah, it is
like,
pretty mental.
Jesus.
Yeah, just the swirly background and, bomb blast causing everything to flicker and all the bullets flying around everywhere. It is quite a spectacle, but thing is, as we mentioned before, to actually unlock hard mode and Zanki attack mode, you actually have to have cleared the game first if you're not using the Recca Pure ROM hack. So a lot of people probably won't have seen this mode before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that Recca Pure title screen was about.
Yeah.
So that was a hack to play the hard mode right away. Gotcha.
Yeah, Recca Pure is like
or Zanki.
A patch.
Or no, hard mode.
Yeah, hard and Zanki. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a ROM patch for Recca released a while back called Recca Pure, where it actually had hard and Zanki attack mode unlocked from the very beginning. You can actually switch between them by pressing select to change your difficulty. So it made it a lot easier for people to access this. But like I mentioned before, if you owned this card originally, you would have had to have cleared the game first before you got to play hard mode and Zanki attack mode. So imagine that not many people would have seen this if they had difficulty clearing this game.
Crazy.
Yeah, having stuff hidden behind the completion wall.
Yeah, imagine the true last boss that it's actually a whole another game. The hands are stretched
They must have
out.
considered that there was so much extra content when they finally released this on the 3DS eShop and whatnot. Like, they finally maybe gathered some info, like, okay, this game is actually... It's probably gathered attention throughout the years and whatnot, and YouTube personalities and all that, and...
Yeah, I would think that this has probably gathered quite a cult following because it's like, it's a very well done Famicom NES shooter. It's like a really good example of bullet hell, essentially, on a really old console, so...
It's literally the first game mentioned on TV tropes in the bullet hell category. Literally. So, and TV tropes brought quite a few people into the game.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Reddit effect. When something gets linked, and just people just grab it en masse because. Yeah, there can be only really like the first, and people like, what's the first bullet hell game? And well, they get handed this by the result. Well, sure, for the NES it definitely is.
Yeah, I mean,
I
guess I could agree.
This is actually probably can be defined as the forefather of bullet hells. Because this inspired Garega inspired DDP, and DDP is where it all started anyway.
It's hard to say because there's a lot of games that do have
Batsugun is the other one.
I guess what you're really talking about is the amount of bullets when it comes to bullet hell, because there's been games before that have as threatening of scenes, but just less bullets.
And before Batsugan, there was Grindstormer, also known as V5, which was Ikeda's first game, fully developed by him. And it introduces just the suicide prevent bullets that are so common in cave works, and the checkpoints and the slowdown. Just a bit milder. So it was a preview of just what to come.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to wonder where Revenge Bullets first became a thing. Like maybe Gradius Arcade? I don't know.
Probably Gradius Arcade.
Yeah.
I think the first one
it's a pretty sweet idea.
I think the first one has Revenge Bullets at higher loops. I don't seem to recall correctly though.
Yeah, I know that for sure.
From Loop 2. Yeah, already.
Yeah, Loop 2 in Gradius Arcade is tough.
The funny
Anyway.
thing is, the flicker that most people complain about is mostly because of LCD screens. Because on CRT, I remember it being much more saner,
Really?
less epilepsy-inducing.
Yeah, I don't think any
One-
emulator does this justice when it comes to flickering.
One more reason to buy CRTs.
Damn, man. I'm really tempted to get this going on the the NES flash cart after this.
You should.
Go for
Just so
it.
you can like see it in person, cause damn, man.
And screen, please.
Yeah,
That would be
you
fun.
should. It's really, really good.
I was still sitting in casual stage 2 slump area, so like
well,
everyone
you're good
else.
at Mochi Mochi Pork. I don't think it shouldn't be like this bad. And
yeah.
most of the time in this stage, Yace just sits back and doesn't really move around left or right too much because it's symmetrical, and he just wants to the bullets to direct just in that bomb. And of course,
Yeah.
take care that killing too much enemies is of course also a bad thing because he doesn't need more retaliation than is needed. So it's one giant rhythm game.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Also, missile spam here. You might have seen in Batrider.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Sky
yeah.
High stage.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's a little
All
bit
the
more
missiles.
convoluted here.
All
though,
the missiles.
unfortunately. Yeah, all the missiles. Yeah, this stage is pretty long though, but there's a hell of a lot going and it's fast moving as well. Like I mentioned before, if you get the wrong weapon, especially here, you're going to be kissing quite a few lives goodbye because stuff will just fly straight through your shot. Especially the
Well,
Yeah,
it-
Yeast has done a pretty good job so far. 47 lives.
He's doing
Yeah,
good here, yeah.
It applies to hard mode mostly, like because in Zanki it doesn't really matter what weapon you get.
Yeah, in Zanki, you've got so many lives as a buffer that I'm not going to say it's impossible to not clear, but you know, it is pretty easy to do if you're at least a tiny bit competent. But in standard hard mode, it's super scary when you start dying constantly in later stages. It's just so hard to recover.
This
The
particular
Zanki
arm
modes
sponsor.
are actually easier than the normal modes a little bit
Yeah.
because you can just bomb spam away and completely. But in normal mode, it gets much harder because you start off with much lesser lives. He has a buffer. In Zanki mode, you get a buffer of 50 lives. In normal and hard non-Zanki, you get a buffer of 5 lives to start with, 7 at max.
Yeah, 7 at max. So, like I said, if you die like once or twice, then you really have to work hard to recover those lives. And I can't remember what actually, what conditions actually generate lives. I think it's what enemies killed or something. I can't quite remember. I never really looked into it.
Likely score. It's just
So,
how.
I
how
don't remember as well. I'll try to look it up.
yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but you do get lives fairly frequently if you're playing somewhat competently, but it's still not regular enough for you to actually have a massive buffer against dying repeatedly. The stages like this, for example, where there's shitloads of laser cannons everywhere, it's like pretty much the place where a lot of people will end most of their runs because those laser cannons are really nasty. And yes, they're the same laser cannons that do appear in Pink Sweet Stage 6. These things here on the right side, yeah, there's a
Oh, man.
shitload of them in this stage. There's a lot of them. And it's pretty hilarious trying to find the safe spot for them later on.
This is a bootleg Pink Sweets episode.
Essentially, yes, bootleg Pink Sweets.
It's kind of ironic that like the game is easier in the game mode where there's more bullets, and that's supposed to be like more threatening. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's completely reversed just of that plain gun knack with ricochet is a certain death, like on higher ranks.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
So-
pretty funny how they gave you so many lives in Zanki attack mode. Yeah.
But that's
So
the goal, like
apparently,
see
uh,
just how farther you can go, just low miss the game. That's it.
Yeah.
Go on.
okay, so the one-up thing it's kind of weird because from what I could find, it says the 1-up replaces the 4th power-up pod. So your main weapon power-up, the 4th pod it replaces. Then after that, it replaces every 8th power-up pod. But that's kind of weird because in the normal game modes, we don't see 1-up that often, do we?
No, not really, no. And you see a lot more power-ups.
Yep.
Imagine an M2 port of Recca. Like with all the gadgets just around the gizmos.
Oh, that'd be
The
great.
counters. It would be pretty funny.
Yeah, that would be awesome though.
And if M2 can remove all the flicker.
And the better music. Like, I mean, not the better, but like more modern one. Like, I not really particularly crave for it because I love chiptunes, but it would be fun to see just like the another version of a Raptor or something.
Yeah.
If they include any other music other than the original, like replace the original, I'm gonna be pissed because I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, sure.
I
Old
I
one
have the
has
soundtrack
So
on
do
my
I,
phone.
actually. I've got the soundtrack on CD.
I've got
On
the
my
sound-
phone.
Yeah, I listen to it every now and then.
It is a pretty good soundtrack though. It is very energetic for an NES game soundtrack.
Get on my
Jesus,
level.
the screen.
Yep.
I have the soundtrack in my brain.
Alright, this is probably the busiest we might have seen it.
Oh look!
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
the game
lasers.
just scrolls.
That was legit slow down for a bit there.
It's like probably the most evil part of the stage because there's like these teleporting laser cannons everywhere. So
That's cool.
But-
He's kind of like get into position.
yeah, they mix it up with homing missile enemies though. So if you're using shot, it's not a problem. But if you're bomb spamming your way through the mode like in Zanki attack, then yeah, there's a couple of lives dead and gone.
Even with the revenge bullets, this is more enemy hell than bullet hell.
Yeah, yeah.
Enemy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's closer to, in this mode at least, it's closer to about 100 enemies per 10 seconds.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, Yagawa could afford it because the way the memory in NES works is, well, I think in this game he has just the background and the foreground layer, and as soon as something goes outside, he can destroy it and immediately recreate it. Considering just this, the playfield is so small, he can just continuously circle enemies around at crazy rate. And yeah, that's why the new enemies don't really appear until you destroy the current wave. Well, to some degree. It's the same way it's done like in Star Force, I believe.
Yeah, I thought that was the case. Just trying to work
Yeah,
out.
just for the memory limitations, because the game is already pushing the system pretty hard.
Yeah.
The Ace can take advantage of it. So he could take his time and just place the bomb like in the middle to destroy, just to make some of the room, then go aside and then pick off the rest of the enemies without having to worry about any kind of time. And then the next wave appears, and he could already, kind of like in Dangan Fever on just fashion, recharge the bomb, wait until the next wave is spawning, and just destroy the whole spawn point pretty much.
Yes calls normal Zanki mode a joke because it's so easy for him.
Yeah, I've seen the replay. He just stands in the side of the screen for like most of the time. It's pretty funny. He doesn't really have to exert himself. It's pretty much like that one game, Asko and Daska. Yeah, you can beat it without just doing anything. Just go into the corner. But yeah,
So
if you wanna go, well, Bullet Soul is fixed in its Black Label kind of version. So yeah, if you wanna experience Zanki, you should just go ahead and take the hard mode, because odds are you will survive anyway.
yeah, it'll be a pretty hard survival, but yeah, at least it's challenging enough.
You would get pretty far. It's just you have no way to just complain or like, hey, it gave me only like 2 lives. I haven't even seen the rest of it. Like, yeah, odds are, yeah, you're gonna beat a few bosses along the way. Slam dunk. it's kind of meditative. Looking at it, yeah. If you can handle the flicker, just continuous explosion.
Yeah.
Every 1.5 seconds.
You got the rave music going on, you got the rave flickering going on. Just think you're at a rave.
Yeah. Roguelike game.
Yeah, we got to tap into like what what Yace would say like about why he likes it so much. It sounds like getting there.
Oh yeah, it's favorite the knuckle game of Yace, I believe, because he isn't really much into cave, so certainly he appreciates the console shooters a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, he's sunk quite a bit of time into it as well. The dedication, and we see just him dying in the corner because the wonderful spawn point. Because yeah, you have to kind of remember, just it's also kind of a Truxton thing, enemies appearing from behind. But yeah, it was back then where just the game design didn't really have these strict kind of rules what to do and what to not do, really.
In Recca, enemies can appear from everywhere. It doesn't matter which part of the screen you think is safe, there'll be an enemy popping up and destroying you.
Exactly. So your bomb, it's your home. You have to make the bomb your home. Just that little singularity that you're carrying around. It's like carrying a portable just tent or something. You just pitch it, and yeah, you're inside of it, and you're the king. You're safe, and just it lights up everywhere. Everyone's happy, just throwing around just the fireworks, and you're moving on, just carrying the tent around. It's the life of the Voyager.
Wow.
Surprisingly deep.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. The movable tent.
Like, I mean, if it's a rave, you have to approach the game with the same mindset. And this boss looks like just it inspired the Kyokugen boss, because yeah, Trap would probably say that yeah, even though just MKai game was in 1994, I believe. So it was just after that, and they decided like. It could have been one of the inspirations, just the Recca, just why not? And they would like, hey, let's return to MSX and show everyone how awesome this machine can be. And then they built Kyokugen, which, well, sadly, one of the points of inspiration was, yeah, epilepsy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could probably make that comparison, like, Kyokugen is like the MSX's Recca or something like that, maybe.
Oh yeah, pretty much. It's just it's the 90s.
Ooh, new enemy.
It's the 90s, and people's eyes have not been destroyed yet.
Might as well start now then.
Yes.
It's a new boss as well.
Not
So
new.
it's there in the normal modes as well.
Oh, I remember his guy.
This guy
Yeah,
is annoying if you don't know what to do with him.
Yeah. He warps around randomly.
Quite.
And it's extremely annoying.
By the way, yeah, just all the references. He really reminds me of Phantoon of Super Metroid fame, in that, yeah, he kind of looks the same and warps around and just showers the screen with bullets.
I never really thought it was Phantoon, like, until you just mentioned it there.
That's
kind of like
yeah.
But yeah, so
almost
much
as annoying
just-
as well. Yeah.
Not just it becomes so convoluted that yeah, Recca, just the goal of this episode was to demonstrate that it certainly has a bigger place than most people think, just in sort of both just inspirations and references.
Yeah.
It's a cornerstone. What was
Yeah, if not by the gamers themselves, definitely by like the developers who were watching around that time and whatnot.
Yeah, it started as a little tech demo thingy and yes, just the carnival, and it managed to become the grandfather of the whole genre.
Well, it's like, because that's a pretty potent time, because that's like when shmups were basically their most popular they'd ever been.
Yeah,
the
because Street Fighter was
the
not
competition
released
is
yet, the
going
second
on.
one.
Since Street Fighter 2 was about to murder shmups. Damn you, Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Murdered a lot of games.
Yeah, it was a golden age at that time for a lot of genres. So yeah, it was probably.
But I'm sure, yeah, a lot of the various, developers that would go on to make stuff were watching pretty carefully and probably even playing the games, just as much.
Yeah, the hard mode.
I'd have to imagine Yagawa was watching pretty, carefully before he made this game, so...
Yeah, sure, he's quite knowledgeable and savvy about just all the tropes that we are around since then, and so he can play with them. And yeah, let's talk about the hard mode itself. It expands on the normal mode, adds in the additional stages to it. That's the main
Yeah, I was
thing.
gonna say there's more stages, but
8
the
in
stage
total.
designs are just completely different. There's just mostly enemies in the stages instead of... Well, I guess there's enemies in all the stages, but there's no actually, distinguishable backgrounds.
Yeah, in this mode,
noticed.
Yagawa kind of gave up on backgrounds completely and said, like, fuck it, it's all going to be space backgrounds, and it's just going to be formation after formation.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Kind of just throws back to the earliest history of video games, because every game was space because it was just easiest to make, pretty much. Every other game kind of required an overlay. Like the oldest arcades, they had these little just overlays printed, just the transparent ones that had to be actually stuck to the CRT of the arcade cabinet. And
to add
so
color, yeah.
we were like, hey, why we bother? Let's just make space games. Because
Yeah, it's pretty old school.
yeah, that's why Truxton, it has rather like simple backgrounds, and then asteroids and such. Just many of the games.
But it also has some crazy pixel art of actual background artwork and stuff.
Yeah, I actually I am impressed with the background work that is done on the earlier stages and the later, and the one, well, moving slightly ahead is the one taken by Zanek Neo, I believe. Yeah, just that scrolling, just fast scrolling stage, and of course Choransha.
Missile barrage.
Yeah. Choransha kind of proved that the game doesn't have to have multiple backgrounds to be successful. Yeah.
It's a pretty pure design, Choransha. It's what
It
makes
does have
good, though.
different backgrounds, well, different colors of face.
Yeah, colors, but not actual background.
Well, I could just
Redundant,
just pick a black and white CRT and play Recca. Can't be more vintage than that.
I
would
doubt
probably
it'll
be-
be that good playing this on a black and white CRT.
But it would murder my eyes less. We're talking about ergonomics here.
Whoa. Well, the bombs are making the whole background disappear.
Yeah.
Was that must have been a sprite foot. That must have been a frame rate issue there.
It's a
Though
frame
it's not it's not really a frame rate thing, but the bomb actually goes off. Each frame the bomb is actually showing, the background is turned off, at least for this stage.
Isn't that a frame rate thing?
No, it's memory
sorry.
limitation.
I think it's sprite limit for some reason. In this stage at least
Can it be a
happens-
combo? Can it be a combo of both? Because this video isn't 60 FPS. Is not at 60 FPS.
Yeah.
Seemed like
so-
it was disappearing for too long, for like way too long. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's not supposed to disappear for way too long. It's supposed to alternate between the bomb sprite and the background sprite.
Yeah.
So in the frame rate issues, yeah, it's making the background completely.
It looks cool when it goes away completely, but I think it's supposed to just flicker
Yeah, it's supposed to just flicker.
like it is now.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. The bomb is way brighter than everything else in that particular, well, let's say corridor. So when you're carrying a portable supernova and you unleash it, just everything becomes super dark in comparison. So it makes sense. And Gaze is actually
Yeah, I
becoming
guess.
overwhelmed by these because, yeah, apparently he dropped the timing and got a few nasty deaths on here. Game's
Yeah.
really becoming mean. And yeah, he tries to catch the bullets into the basket. slowly moving around.
The basket, the tent, the supernova. How many different things are you gonna call the bomb? It's like 4 things. I like it though.
What
Yeah,
else can we
because-
call it?
Yeah, Dr. Shinobu Yagawa,
I like portable tent.
or How I Stopped Worrying and Loved the Bomb.
What?
Never thought anyone would make that kind of reference.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
but it's a strange love. Yagawa and bombing.
Yeah, it is.
Can't say bombing without Yagawa. Well, you can, but Ikeda hates them. So yeah, it's just the direct opposites and they're just player styles. And this section is also really mean. This snake just bounces around the screen, and so Yace just waits until the perfect opportunity, just when it comes to him. It's kind of
And then
like,
he died.
yeah, hunting. You want
The-
your enemy to be where you want them, and then yeah, slam dunk them.
Okay, this is the most annoying portion in the game. This section,
Yes.
I think Icarus hates it as well. In
It's
his own
not
hard
this
mode.
section. Not this section I hate, because this part isn't that bad. It's the bit when it scrolls back upwards. That bit
Oh,
is
right, yeah.
referenced directly in Pink Suites, and you'll recognize it when you get to it, because it is my most hated part of that stage in stage 6. But yeah.
Is that Cloud?
Yeah, the cloud
Or-
stage, yeah.
okay.
If you know what part I'm talking about, you'll probably know what's coming up very soon, because it is absolutely awful. It's even worse in Recca though, because of the speed the game moves at.
You think this is faster than Pink Suites?
In the way that it plays, yes. The actual section I'm
Yeah.
talking about is considerably faster in Recca than it is in Pink Suites.
Yeah.
The problem with the one in Pink Suites is there's more shit on screen because of the rank.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm still surprised he hasn't counter stopped it yet.
Yeah, well, like I said before, it's easy to counter stop if you're using shot through this because you can kill higher value enemies, but you probably won't counter stop Zanki hard until much later in the hard mode run, probably after you kill the last boss maybe.
This is a really cool spin he does there. Just that snake,
Yeah.
just leading it around. It looks really flashy.
It looked like
Pardon
it
the
barely
pun.
worked.
Okay,
Oh.
the red long snake bounces around randomly, and the blue snakes home in on you. I think we missed mentioning those during the snake bosses. The long.
That's a great
snake.
demonstration here. Yeah, about the hitbox of the aura there.
It's pretty large. It covers a little bit to the sides as well, but not from behind.
Looks like it even covers over the ship too a bit.
It does a little bit, yeah. If you've got options as well, then you've basically got full coverage because the options absorb bullets as well. So if you've got like if you've got like the trace options like he's using here, then you can basically have them sitting either side of you or in front.
What the hell is that background doing?
It's going crazy.
It's a rave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really cool.
A rave with drugs.
Get out your glow sticks and your speed.
Who needs drugs?
When you have Recca, right? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Just winners do not use drugs.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Yes.
The truth is they do. after they win, though.
Or
Anyway.
instead.
Let's not condone that.
Doesn't usually take this long to kill it, but yeah.
Jesus, this is like the Gygas battle from Earthbound at this point.
There we go. It's coming up to that bit which I mentioned before. This part's not too bad, but you'll recognize the exact.
Oh, good joke there.
Here we are.
Gonna need a urine test on this run.
Here we
said
are.
Sean AB. This is the part. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. These fast laser thingies.
Yep.
trying to remember.
These guys in stage 6. Do we know what I'm talking about? Fucking snake laser section. This is a direct reference. Well, Pink Suites directly referenced this part of it. See laser cannons either side, and then snakes just coming in from everywhere.
Oh. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Snake lasers. Yep. This is the exact section, and it's much harder in this because of the speed everything moves at. It's difficult in Pink Suites because of the ranks, so the lasers are firing constantly, there's no gap between them, and there's more snakes. But in here, the speed of the enemies means that you're probably going to be flying into something very quickly if you're not careful.
And he did.
Yeah, actually game over in my run, standard hard mode at that point. So it's really not a surprise to be dying at snake lasers because I do it that often now.
Yeah, Yace does lose the majority of the lives in there.
This formation
And
as
so-
well in stage 6, Pink Suites.
Yeah, about the other reference, because yeah, we're all cave and cave. Yeah, the bits, just the options that are in this game. Yeah, the block bullets. The same thing do the bits in R-Type. And
Yes,
they
they
can
do.
also shoot. Yeah, with the DNA laser on. Yeah, the bits can also shoot. So
Yeah.
it's another fancy reference.
Yeah.
Oh, new enemy.
No, these enemies actually appeared in stage 3 of normal. They're the enemy I mentioned before where, there's a trap where if you're trying to avoid like enemies that teleport on the left side by staying on the right, then this enemy like shoots down the screen and they'll like smack you on the way past with the arm. Which is like and it does catch a lot of people out. I've been caught out quite a few times while I was learning to play this. It's a pretty nasty little trap there.
There is no way to actually sight read that trap. If you don't know where it is, you will get hit by it.
Exactly, yeah. You have to memorize that section and when it's coming up because the disc enemy moves so quickly that you don't have any time to react to it.
And so here the final boss of the game again.
Oh, so I wasn't that far away.
Yeah, it's close to the
Whoa.
end.
He's out of control.
And he's dead.
Yeah, just 2 bombs it took, and then yeah, it's clear with 28 extra lives, and yeah, top 28. It also tracks the top score because yeah, it's implied that somebody would place just to play the game just afterwards. It still keeps it in the memory. Pretty nice. Yeah, that's Recca.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very competitive,
fun.
very challenging, and very varied game that's been a major influence on whatever kind of games we were created in the 90s.
Yeah.
Definitely give it a try if you love Famicom and if you love Yagawa.
Oh yes. I definitely
I think-
recommend everyone play this. It is an extremely good rush.
If
to
you
play
don't
through.
love Yagawa, play this game anyway, so you could love him.
Yeah.
I think you can
Exactly.
keep running the hard mode counterstop video at the background, so we see some higher
Oh, sure.
quality video of it.
Oh yeah. All right, decent idea. We'll close it out with that. I won't bother to do a countdown.
Yeah,
yeah,
just
sure.
leave it running in the background.
Okay.
Oh, that looks nicer for sure.
Yeah, because Icarus, I think, did this in 720p 60 FPS, so much less flickering in this.
Yeah,
And
I
Whisper
captured
as
it. I captured it using direct frame output in I think FCUX, and then compiled it to 720, so it's actually quite sharp.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
take notes for whoever next is planning to record or stream this game to do this.
Yeah, everybody should at least go out and play the normal mode of the game. At
Yeah, it's
least
short.
once.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing the normal mode at the very least. Hard mode is a really good challenge, but it's also a pretty frustrating one in certain sections. If not
Yeah,
prepared,
it really ramps up in the last stage.
definitely ramps up in the last
Yep.
stage. Yeah, but
Get your search options. Get your lasers.
Yeah.
Don't get the other power-ups.
Yeah.
Use the bombs.
Yeah,
Be smart.
slam
you
dunk.
You'll probably do okay, Recca.
slam
Don't
dunk.
don't do drugs.
That too.
Yeah.
All right. Carry your tents around. Just go outside, guys.
The
don't
other
come-
Just pop a tent and play this one.
Yeah, sure. Just carry your own CRT around and play Recca in night where no human civilization will bother you, and maybe
Oh,
the
man.
spirit of Yagawa himself will descend upon you from the sky.
If you have like a tent and like a generator outside the tent, and the generator's powering the CRT in your consoles.
I
like,
need a
fuck it.
fan art of that.
Oh yeah,
like-
there is an OST CD out for this, and it contains 2 remixes by Manabu Namiki as well.
Nice.
Yeah, the composer of Recca.
And yeah, once again, you can get this game on the 3DS eShop. You can actually buy the game, which is pretty crazy. I mean, never really expected that to happen.
Yeah, sadly, just
But
a
it
lot
did.
of the old games, yeah, you can't really buy them because the owners went out of rights, just out of business, and yeah, this game you actually can buy. Yeah, support the retro game development.
Yeah, that's like the nice thing about like, you know, PSN and whatnot when they release these old games. I mean, you actually can, you know, still support the genre, just in whatever ways you can. So it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. Shout outs to Ace.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Shout out to Ace for
We
the
miss
for the
you,
vid,
Ace.
and
Yeah.
he had some other duties, but he'll be back.
That's
All right. Well, seems like we don't have much else to say here. So, shall wrap it up then. Thanks for watching, everyone, for STG Weekly 131 for Summer Carnival 92 Recca. Man, I wonder how the scoring competitions went for this game. I wonder if there's any records
Everyone
of that.
died.
Yeah, probably. They were pretty popular from what I heard, though, because they also had Alzadik and Nexa as well as part of
Yeah,
this.
those are the other Summer Carnival 92 games?
Yeah, Summer Carnival 92 and 93, yes. The Summer
Okay.
Carnival was actually done in response to the Hudson caravan competitions.
Okay, yeah, that's good to clarify on that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so those 3 games are actually really good. I mean, Naxat Soft are actually quite prolific on PC Engine. But those games in particular are actually really, really good. Nexa is one of my favorite games on PC Engine CD, and it's definitely worth looking at if people are kind of interested. It's not a very well-known game by them, but it is actually really, really good, and it's very difficult, well, compared to, say, you know, the compile stuff that's on PC Engine. And Alzadik is basically a form of Star Soldier, essentially. But it's actually a pretty good game in its own right as well. But yeah, the tournament games are actually very, very good, worth checking out if people aren't actually aware of them. Or have heard
Oh
of them.
yeah, for sure. They're all just simple, fun type of stuff. I mean, you got the 2-minute modes and whatnot, and you know, it's very easy to enjoy in little small bursts and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So if people are interested, I would say go out and grab them, try them out, because you'll probably have a lot of fun with them. And I've really enjoyed playing Recca in the past, and I really enjoyed playing, you know, Nexa and Alzadik and all the other Hudson scoring competition games as well. They're definitely worth checking out if you like short, pretty intensive games and gameplay modes. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, thanks for putting together the videos and whatnot as well, and for playing the game
Yeah, no problem.
again.
No problem. But like I said, I enjoyed actually relearning the game and getting to
Cool.
definitely a good time, and hopefully the stuff that I actually have up my channel to people to learn it as well, because I need to re-highlight
Recca special demonstrations in Full HD, please.
Yeah, maybe if someone actually gives me a better score than mine, that'll be fine. I think they'll be pretty easy to beat, to be honest. So yeah, there's a challenge for people. If you want one, just give me the replay for it and I'll do it.
I actually stole a lot of Icarus's strats, so I'm pretty close to a 1cc.
Yeah, do it, dude. Do it.
Nice.
Yeah, STG Weekly does challenge you. Yeah,
Yeah.
just post in comments just how are your just personal successes, like experiences with the game. Yeah, I read every comment at least. Sure.
Yeah, you know, feel free to talk about Recca. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, definitely try it out if you haven't. It is a really good experience, and it does lead into quite a lot of other games as well. So maybe you'll get the taste for other Yagawa stuff after you play it.
Gotta get that taste. It's a good taste.
Yeah, exactly.
once you know it, it can be hard, especially like, you know, Recca initially and whatnot. But
Yeah, of course. But yeah, it is a learning process all the way through. Nice.
some of the games are more simple than others, so
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice way to actually get
easy.
into the kind of stuff that he's done. I mean, I wouldn't expect people to go from, you know, Recca to Pink Sweets, for example, but it's a nice way to actually sample some of the ideas that he had when it comes to making games and see quite a lot of his DNA, game development DNA, and a lot of the later releases. So it's pretty fun tracing the history back to this game and to some of his even older stuff as well. And, I think
Didn't he do Musha Alest? Forget.
I don't think he did Musha, no.
Because that had the controllable options, as I recall.
I think they basically took the idea from that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one
That's
of
what I
his
was thinking.
older games was an MSX game, actually, the Laser Fight, which was actually quite hard to find, but we managed to track down a copy on Yahoo Auctions, and I dumped that a while back. It's
Oh, really?
actually a Gradius ripoff, but it's actually kind of hilarious because it's a Gradius bullet hell, which is really, really funny.
By Yagawa.
By Yagawa, yeah. It's actually got his
Oh,
name in
man.
it, which is pretty good. So I think that's one of his oldest games, but yeah, he had quite a lot of ideas even back in the day, so definitely worth.
What was it called?
Laser
Laser?
Yeah.
Laser Fight?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
There's something to check out.
definitely. Yeah, it is pretty interesting. Like I said, it's a Gradius style game on MSX, but it's like sort of bullet hellish. There's like a lot of stuff going on. So it's essentially
Yeah, it's interesting. I mentioned that because I was talking about the Revenge bullets from Gradius earlier, and
yeah. So
it seems like that was probably probably the influence there for sure.
In
Yeah,
case
Gradius was
Recca did
huge.
not have enough lasers for you, check out Laser Fight.
yeah. It is a pretty good little quirky game to check out though. So yeah, definitely that as well. You'll probably find the dub that I released a while back floating somewhere. There's a thread on the Shmups forum as well where we discussed it. So yeah, there's definitely some information on it now, so it's worth checking out.
Maybe we could get that for people
Yeah,
if they needed it. But
yeah.
okay, cool. Awesome. All right, well that's gonna do it. Thanks, people, for coming out once again for an episode. Go on and throw it on YouTube. A couple days and all that. So yeah, that'll do it for Summer Carnival 92 Recca, episode 131. Later, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.